You've probably stepped into the shower more times than you can count, but after turning 70, what once felt routine can quietly become a moment of hidden risk. I used to think it was nothing, a warm rinse to start the day, a comfort before bed, but then I saw it happen to someone close. My father, a strong, steady man who felt faint one morning in the shower and couldn't explain why. That moment changed how I looked at everyday habits we often take for granted. In this video, I want to gently walk with you through the 5 most dangerous times for seniors to shower, times that most people overlook, yet can quietly affect your heart, your balance, and even your safety. We'll explore simple adjustments you can make, grounded in real-life wisdom and based on how our bodies change after 70. This isn't about fear, it's about awareness, about honoring the aging process with care and clarity. If you're someone who values elder wisdom, or you've ever felt a little off after a shower but couldn't quite say why, you're not alone. Please stay with me, and if anything here resonates, tap that subscribe button and share your experience. So in the comments below, maybe even type 70+ strong if you're watching and listening right now. Let's continue together. There's a certain quietness to early mornings that many of us have come to cherish. For decades, the familiar rhythm of rising with the sun, moving from bed to bathroom, and starting the day with a warm shower has felt like a gesture of discipline, care, and self-respect. But as we grow older, especially past 70, what used to be routine may now demand a bit more thoughtfulness. Our bodies, though still resilient in many ways, change in how they respond. 2 transitions, that soft moment between sleeping and waking, where the world begins to stir but the body remains heavy with stillness, is far more delicate than we often realize. When we wake, especially after a deep sleep, our heart rate is still slow, our blood vessels remain slightly constricted, and our circulation hasn't fully adjusted to the upright world. For younger folks, these shifts happen quickly, often unnoticed, but in elder years the body takes its time, and that's not a flaw, it's simply part of aging gracefully. Rushing into a steamy shower during this fragile window, before the heart and blood pressure have caught up to the day, can quietly place the body under stress it didn't ask for. I've seen this play out not in dramatic scenes, but in subtle signs. A moment of dizziness, a brief blackout, a strange unsteadiness that passes just as quickly as it came. It's easy to dismiss those feelings as nothing, to tell ourselves we simply got up too fast, but often they are small warnings we should listen to. A warm shower may feel soothing, but to an underprepared circulatory system, it can act like a sudden demand, pulling blood toward the surface, lowering pressure, and tipping the balance we need to stay upright and clear-headed. This is especially true for those who already live with mild balance issues or are managing chronic conditions like low blood pressure or early-stage heart concerns. Over the years, I've spoken with many seniors who described feeling lightheaded in the mornings, yet never connected it to their showering habits. And once they made small changes, waiting 30 to 40 minutes after waking, sipping a glass of water, doing some light movements before stepping into the steam, they noticed a difference. No more near falls, no more uneasy starts to the day. These adjustments didn't take away from their independence or dignity. In fact, they added to it. Because listening to the needs of an aging body isn't giving in, it's growing wiser. So the next time you wake up and feel the pull of routine urging you toward the bathroom, take a breath. Let your body catch up, give it space to fully arrive. It's a gentle habit, but one that speaks volumes to your long-term wellness. After 70, what protects us isn't always something big or heroic. It's often the small, quiet decisions we choose to honor each morning. As we move through the quiet rhythm of daily life, some moments seem so ordinary, so harmless, that we rarely pause to question them. One of those habits, especially common in many homes, is showering shortly after a meal. Perhaps you finished breakfast or lunch, cleared the dishes, and thought, this is a good time to freshen up. It feels like a natural part of the day's routine, but for those of us in our 70s and beyond, it may quietly work against the body's needs. You see, after eating, especially a full meal, your body shifts its focus. Blood flow naturally moves toward the stomach and digestive organs, gently supporting the complex process of breaking down food and absorbing nutrients. This redirection is essential, especially for older adults whose metabolism may slow and require more assistance from the circulatory system. But when we step into a warm shower soon after, we unintentionally challenge that system. The warmth of the water draws blood toward the skin's surface. The upright posture demands additional circulation, and suddenly, your body is pulled in two directions: support digestion or keep you standing and stable. And for many seniors, this internal tug-of-war can show up as lightheadedness, fatigue, or even a sudden dizzy spell that feels like it came from nowhere. I remember sitting with a neighbor once, a soft-spoken man named Harold, who told me how he'd always showered right after his morning toast and tea, but lately he'd noticed a strange fogginess when he rinsed, a moment of unease that passed just as quickly as it came. It wasn't until a small slip near the shower mat that he finally brought it up with his doctor, who explained the strain his routine was quietly placing on his heart and brain. Harold made one small shift. He waited 45 minutes after breakfast before heading to the bathroom, and that lingering fog lifted just like that. What feels like a minor adjustment can carry significant meaning when it comes to preserving balance, heart stability, and brain clarity. Aging gracefully doesn't mean giving up routines we love. It means reshaping them so they continue to serve us. There's a kind of daily wisdom in learning when to rest, when to move, and when to allow the body space to finish one task before asking it to start another. So if you've ever felt just a little off while showering after a meal, perhaps now you know it wasn't just in your head. It was your body asking for more time, more patience, more care. In the larger story of healthy aging, it's these subtle moments, these choices we often overlook, that carry the power to protect us. Giving digestion the time it needs is a quiet but vital act of self-respect. After all, honoring what your body is doing on the inside is one of the surest ways to keep yourself steady on the outside. As the day winds down and the house begins to quiet, many older adults find comfort in the familiar ritual of a warm evening shower. It feels like a gentle way to wash away the worries of the day, to ease aching joints, and to invite restful sleep. And for those living with stiffness or the wear and tear of aging, the steam and heat can seem almost healing. But there's something quietly important that often goes unnoticed: how this bedtime habit, especially when the water is too hot, may be placing unexpected stress on a body that's preparing to rest, not respond. You see, when you step into a very hot shower, your blood vessels expand, your heart rate increases, and your core temperature rises even if the mind feels relaxed. For younger people, this isn't usually a concern, but in older adults, where the cardiovascular system responds more slowly and sometimes less predictably, this sudden elevation can have consequences that ripple into the night. The body relies on a gentle cooling process in the evening to signal sleep and maintain balance during the overnight hours. When that process is disrupted, when the body stays too warm for too long, it can interfere with sleep quality, contribute to overnight blood pressure instability, and even heighten the risk of nocturnal heart events or sleep-related confusion. I once spoke to a kind woman named May, who swore by her nightly hot shower. She said it helped her arthritis and soothed her worries, but she also mentioned waking up often, feeling slightly anxious or drenched in sweat, unsure why. When her doctor suggested trying a warm, not hot shower a bit earlier in the evening, closer to dinner than bedtime, she noticed a profound difference. Her sleep deepened, her mind quieted, her mornings felt steadier. That small shift didn't take away her comfort. It gave her body permission to do what it needed to do: rest, heal, and regulate. There's a reason we often say aging is a form of wisdom, and part of that wisdom is learning that soothing doesn't always have to mean hot, that timing matters just as much as temperature. A shower is more than a cleansing. It's an invitation to peace, to rhythm, to connection with your own well-being. And when taken at the right time with just the right warmth, it becomes a quiet partner in health, rather than a hidden strain. So if you've ever felt unsettled in the night, or found your heart racing after what should have been a calming ritual, it may not be the day's stress or age alone. It might simply be a matter of adjusting the heat, honoring your body's Slower, wiser signals, and letting sleep arrive in its natural way, supported, not startled. After 70, those small recalibrations in how we prepare for bed can mean everything for how we wake up tomorrow. Sometimes, it's not just when we shower, but where and under what conditions that quietly shapes how our bodies respond. As the day stretches past noon and the sun rises higher, many homes, especially older ones without modern insulation or strong airflow, can slowly begin to trap heat in places we least expect. One of those places is the bathroom. The tiles may still feel cool underfoot, and the air may not seem stifling at first, but for seniors living alone or in homes with minimal ventilation, a small space like the bathroom can quickly turn into a silent heat chamber, especially in the warmer months. When we step into a warm shower during these midday hours, between lunch and early evening, we're often entering an environment already preloaded with heat. Add to that the steam rising from the water, a closed door to retain privacy, and no fan or open window to circulate the air, and the body is suddenly surrounded by warmth from every side. For someone over 70, whose ability to regulate body temperature is naturally reduced, this situation can be more than uncomfortable. It can be dangerous. The body tries to cool itself by sending blood to the skin and releasing sweat, but in seniors, that system doesn't respond as quickly or effectively. What follows can be a rapid drop in blood pressure, a wave of nausea, or even confusion that seems to come out of nowhere. And for those already living with chronic conditions, such as hypertension or diabetes, the strain on internal systems may be even greater. I remember visiting a family friend who lived in a quiet Midwestern town, in a lovely but aging house with charming wooden windows and no ceiling fans. Her afternoon showers, once a treat after gardening, had started leaving her drained instead of refreshed. At first she thought she was simply slowing down with age, but when her son brought over a small humidity meter and checked the room before she even turned the water on, the temperature was already above 84 degrees and climbing. With just a few changes, showering in late morning instead, opening a window slightly and running a small fan nearby, she regained the feeling of lightness and ease she had long associated with bathing. These may sound like small adjustments, but in reality, they are thoughtful acts of protection, ones that can prevent unnecessary strain on the heart, brain, and balance. The truth is, aging gracefully isn't about pushing through discomfort. It's about listening carefully, noticing how different times of day and environments affect our wellness, and honoring those patterns with small shifts in routine. A midday shower may have once been harmless, even soothing, but now it asks us to pause, check the room, feel the air, and ask, is my body truly ready for this warmth? That gentle question, when answered wisely, can keep us safe and well day after day, year after year. As we come to this final part of our conversation, it's worth pausing to reflect on how even something as seemingly invigorating as cold water can carry hidden challenges, especially as we grow older. While much of modern wellness advice praises cold showers for their supposed ability to awaken the senses or reduce inflammation, that advice doesn't always take into account the very real physiological shifts that come with aging. For seniors, particularly those over 70, a sudden blast of cold water, especially first thing in the morning, can act less like a refreshment and more like a shock to the system. When cold water touches the skin, the body's natural response is to constrict blood vessels in an attempt to preserve core temperature. While this may seem harmless, in an older adult whose vascular system may already be slower or more fragile, this response can sharply elevate blood pressure in a matter of seconds. For someone living with heart disease, hypertension, or simply a more sensitive cardiovascular rhythm, that rapid spike can trigger a dangerous chain reaction, faintness, dizziness, or in more severe cases, a cardiac event. Even more quietly, it may restrict blood flow to the brain just long enough to cause disorientation or loss of balance. I once heard from a retired high school principal named Edward, who had started taking cold morning showers after reading about their so-called anti-aging benefits. At first, he told me he felt alert, until one morning the sharp cold hit his chest and left him breathless and hunched over the sink, unsure what had just happened. What he didn't realize at the time was that his body, now in its late 70s, was trying to adapt to a level of physical stress it no longer needed or welcomed. After switching to a lukewarm rinse and slowly adjusting the temperature over time, his mornings returned to calm steadiness, and the fear of sudden episodes melted away. This story, like so many others shared among those walking the path of healthy aging, reminds us that wellness is never about pushing through discomfort for the sake of a trend. Instead, it's about honoring what your body tells you, choosing ease over extremes, and understanding that true vitality often comes from consistency, not shock. If you enjoy the feeling of a cooler shower, consider easing into it gently, perhaps later in the day, when your circulation is stronger and your body more alert. Aging doesn't mean giving up habits that make you feel good, but it does mean reshaping them to support your changing needs. And when it comes to your morning routine, a gentle, warm start may be one of the kindest gifts you can give to your heart, your brain, and your balance. Because after 70, the body doesn't need to be challenged to prove its strength. It only needs to be supported so that it can keep showing up day after day with grace. As we come to the end of this gentle journey, it's clear that something as routine as a shower can carry more meaning than we often realize, especially after the age of 70. With age comes wisdom, but also changes in how our bodies respond to heat, cold, pressure, and timing. By simply adjusting when and how we bathe, we can reduce serious risks like dizziness, fainting, or stress on the heart and brain. These aren't drastic changes, but thoughtful acts of self-care rooted in elder wisdom and lifelong experience. It's not about giving up routines, it's about reshaping them in ways that support safety, dignity, and long-term wellness. I've heard from many in their 70s and 80s who made these small changes and noticed a big difference. Like Mrs. Jam, an 81-year-old retired teacher in California who used to shower after dinner every night, but began experiencing sudden nighttime awakenings. Once she shifted her shower to late afternoon and lowered the water temperature, her sleep improved, and so did her energy the next day. Or Mr. Luis, a widower in Florida, who always started his day with a cold, rinsey. When his daughter noticed his occasional disorientation in the mornings, she gently suggested switching to lukewarm water and adding a few seated balance exercises before bathing. Now, his mornings feel steadier, calmer, and safer. Your health and safety deserve attention, not through fear but through understanding. If today's insights resonated with you, I warmly invite you to leave a comment below. Type the number of the section that stood out most to you. Was it number 1 about showering too soon after waking up, or maybe number 4 about afternoon heat, plus poor bathroom ventilation, or even better, share your own experience or a small tip that's worked for you or someone you love. Your story may be the gentle reminder someone else needs today. Because at this stage in life, it's not just about staying clean, it's about staying well. And that truly is something worth sharing. We're listening, we're learning, and we're walking this journey together.